So, this is a very simple activity. Reading newspaper is not a big deal. But yes, producing it, it's quite a big deal. In fact, it's a management, where things get sought and finally done. There are vital functions in it. Planning. It is one of the functions. It's a heart of all management functions. It deals with, wait a minute, why don't you see it?
As India awakes to a new dawn every day, the Times of India begins its daily task of reaching out to over 7 million people across the nation. And it's not an easy task. An intensely complex and smoothly coordinated effort goes into producing your daily TOI. A newspaper has two major constituents, advertising and news. In the Times Group, daily production of both these elements is the responsibility of two departments. Response, which is our advertising department, and editorial, which selects and presents the news and views you find in the paper. Typically, an advertisement that appears in the paper began its journey to print many weeks earlier. Sales teams first contact the advertiser to finalize the advertising. Then, an advertising agency or advertisers themselves come and book the advertisement. The order is then checked and the advertisement is screened, scheduled, and finally placed on a dummy page. The volume of advertising then determines the number of pages in the next day's edition. The final dummy, with all the advertisements placed according to specifications, is then handed over to editorial in the evening. While that process is underway, the news side of the paper begins to take shape early in the morning. This is a result of various sections of editorial working together. They are the News Bureau, which gathers primarily political and other national news, the Metro Desk, which reports city news, the Business and Sports Desks, the Times News Network, which coordinates our network of national correspondents, the Main News Desk, that edits, bolsters, and decides on articles from across the country. Then there are city supplement teams that bring out popular city supplements like Delhi Times and Bombay Times. And finally, the editorial opinion section, also known as the edit page, which is responsible for all opinions found in the paper. The editorial process begins at 10:30 a.m. Informal discussions are held between section heads and editors in the morning and also before noon. Reporters and correspondents then begin their work. They are often assigned stories by their section heads. A noon news meeting is held at 12:30, where the morning's paper is reviewed and the day's routine is outlined. The edit page meeting ends soon after, and work begins on finishing that page. At 1 p.m., the graphics team and the desk began working on the basic layout and stories. By about 3 p.m., reporters began to file and finalize their stories with the main desk. The resident editor is busy coordinating with section heads. This goes on till about 7 p.m., when the vital news management meeting happens. The paper is now finally beginning to take shape. At 7:30 p.m., the main desk keeps updating stories and tracks breaking news. Interactions occur between teams and the pages get updated. Page 1 is worked out at about 8 p.m. And finally, at about 11 p.m., the main edition is finalized and sent to the system. But some sub-editors remain to monitor breaking news and make changes if necessary. Changes can be made till 2 a.m. The paper is now in the hands of the production department, where negatives and printing plates are sequentially prepared and sent to the presses. The presses would have already begun printing various pages and editions. Our Jayaraman presses print, cut, count, sort, pack, and label copies of the paper. The state-of-the-art machine can print 120,000 copies an hour.
Planning. It was a root of management indeed. What we saw was a creative aspect. Now comes a literal delegation and decisive work. It is more of organizing. Now what I mean by organizing, it has to have a goal. That too, it is rightly said, organizing has to be a goal orientation thing. Now comes the directing. Directing it with the vision of human resource development and building public relations. Staffing. Staffing is to place a right person at the right place. As it is rightly said, efficiency matters. At the end, it's the controlling. It helps to know the actual inside of any business. No matter what, how you're going to do your business, it's very much important to have a control on it.
Democracy. Yeah, I got more records than the KGB. So, no funny business. You already are.